This is the Love Language Podcast with Abdul Ghaffar. Love Language. Conversations about love that ask more of you. Hello everyone. Welcome again to Love Language. My name is Abdul Ghaffar Arikewuyo. Thank you for joining me on Love Language. This is the platform where we talk about real love, real issues that would help you thrive in your love and romantic life. We talk about relationship matters. We delve into different real life, real time, real situation issues and stories. These issues, many of you have told me and give me very interesting feedbacks on how they have helped you thrive and move forward in your relationship. I appreciate everyone who's been a part of the show, and I look forward to hearing from you as much as possible with your feedbacks. Last week we took some very bold steps. We dissected some interesting attachment styles of different individuals. And today I want to talk to you about something interesting as usual. And this time is very, very important. It's about you. I'm talking to you again today about why being good is not enough in your love life. So let me begin with a question that may unsettle you. Not because it's an unfamiliar question, but because it's uncomfortably close to home. Have you ever looked back at a relationship that ended and said, but I was good to them? You did not cheat. You did not shout. You did not manipulate or abandon or betray. You stayed. You showed up every single time and became the MVP. Even when it mattered, you carried responsibilities, you paid bills, kept promises, and remained loyal. But every visible standard, you did what a good partner is supposed to do. And yet, despite all of this, the relationship slowly withered. Not with drama, not with scandal, but quietly, almost politely, until one day, the connection you assumed was solid was no longer there. So this episode, I'm not going to be looking at bad people or who destroy love through cruelty or neglect. I'm looking at good people, decent, responsible, well-intentioned people who lose love because goodness alone does not speak the language of intimacy. I'll take it again. Goodness alone does not speak the language of intimacy. So this episode is about fine, nice, good people who are good in the relationship, and I will be talking to you about how distinction matters in your relationship. Many relationships do not collapse because of violence, infidelity, or overt harm. They dissolve because of emotional illiteracy. Two people can care deeply for each other and still drift apart, not because they wanted to hurt one another, but because they never learned how to meet each other emotionally. Misunderstanding, when sustained over time, can just be as damaging as betrayal. Love, as it turns out, is not only about character. Character keeps you from harming, but it does not automatically teach you how to connect. Love is about communication. It's about attunement. It's about recognizing emotional cues and responding to them with sensitivity. It's about learning to speak a language that is never thought formally, yet demanded daily in our closest relationships. A language that asks you to listen beyond words, to respond beyond logic, and to remain present even when discomfort arises. So today, I want you to sit with me without being defensive, not to judge yourself, not to rewrite your past, not to catalog everything you did right, but listen closely. Because the most important question is not whether you are a good person. Most people are good people in their relationships. The more difficult, more honest question is the way you love actually understood by the person you love? Until that question is asked and answered, many relationships will continue to fail quietly, leaving good people confused, wounded, and wondering where it all went wrong. So let me tell you a very good and interesting story. It's not because it's an extraordinary story, because it's painfully ordinary. It's the kind of story that repeats itself in different homes, cultures, and relationships, only with different names. So let's take the female for Amina, and then we call the guy David. They met in their late 20s, at a stage when life had already taught them discipline. Both were ambitious, both were reliable, both of them had learned early that survival required self-control rather than emotional expression. They were raised in environments where responsibility was praised and vulnerability was quietly discouraged. From the outside, their relationship looked solid. David was dependable in ways that were easy to measure. He never forgot birthdays or anniversaries. He handled practical needs efficiently. He showed commitment through consistency, by staying, by providing, by being present in tangible ways. To him, love was something you demonstrated through reliability. If he was there, if he was faithful, if he had not abandoned her, then love, in his understanding, had been proven. Amina wanted something less visible, but more intimate. She longed for emotional responsiveness. She wanted her inner world noticed, her doubts when she felt unsure, her quiet joys, her fluctuating moods. She did not ask for dramatic gestures or constant reassurance. She wanted the presence, to feel emotionally met, not merely accompanied. In the beginning, this difference did not register as a problem. Early affection softened the gaps. Assumptions filled in where understanding had not yet formed. David thought, am I doing everything right? Amina thought, maybe I'm asking for too much. And so, neither challenged the pattern. As the years passed, subtle fractures appeared. When Amina felt overwhelmed, David responded with solutions. He believed fixing the problem was an act of care. When she wanted empathy, he offered advice. When she asked for reassurance, he reminded her of his loyalty and commitment. None of this was cruel. None of it was intentional harm, yet slowly eroded. Amina began to feel emotionally alone. She stopped explaining herself because explaining no longer felt safe or useful. David sensed distance, but not understanding its true cause, stopped asking deeper questions. What replaced curiosity was silence. What replaced intimacy was routine. When the relationship eventually ended, David was stunned. He could not reconcile the outcome with his effort. I was good to her, he said, and that, Amina replied quietly, was never the problem. Pause for a moment. How many relationships have ended in this kind of emotional deadlock, where one partner feels unappreciated for all they did and the other feels unseen for who they were? Now let me tell you an uncomfortable truth, one that many people resist because it challenges how they understand themselves. Love is not only about intent, it's about impact. What kind of impact do you make in your romantic partner? Intent leaves your heart. Impact lives in the other person's emotional experience. And relationships are sustained not by what you meant, but by what was felt. Being good refers to moral effort. It speaks to honesty, loyalty, and responsibility. Loving well, however, refers to emotional competence. It requires an entirely different skill set, one that many well-meaning people were never thought to develop. This is why you can be honest and still be emotionally absent. You can tell the truth and yet avoid emotional engagement. You can be loyal and still be disconnected, present in your body but unavailable in feelings. You can be faithful and still unreachable when your partner needs reassurance, empathy, or emotional safety. So why exactly does this happen? It's because love operates through a language system. Just as speaking English to someone who only understands French produces confusion rather than connection, expressing love in ways your partner cannot receive leads to emotional starvation. No matter how sincere your effort is, your partner may see that you are trying, yet still feel unseen, unmet, or emotionally alone. Many people assume love is instinctive. It's not. Attraction may be instinctive, attachment may be conditioned, but sustaining intimacy requires learning. Love is relational intelligence. It demands that you recognize emotional cues rather than dismiss them. It asks you to respond appropriately rather than defensively. It requires you to tolerate discomfort instead of withdrawing from difficult conversations. Most critically, it asks you to stay present during emotional intensity when silence feels safer than engagement. This is where many good people struggle. Goodness prioritizes behavior, doing the right thing, avoiding harm, fulfilling duties. Love prioritizes atonement, sensing what your partner needs in the moment and responding with emotional accuracy. You may find yourself asking, but why didn't they just appreciate me? Because appreciation does not replace emotional nourishment. Gratitude cannot compensate for unmet emotional needs. So imagine feeding someone regularly, but with food they are allergic to. Your effort is real, your intention is kind, your harm is unintended, yet the outcome is still damaging. Over time, the body rejects what it cannot absorb. Love works the same way. Without translation, without learning how your partner experiences care, reassurance, and connection, love remains well-intended but ineffective. And love that cannot be felt, no matter how pure its intent, slowly loses its power to sustain the relationship. So, let us sit with one difficult question today. Not rush past it, not soften it, just allow it to breathe. Ask yourself, if I did not do anything wrong, why did my love still fail? This question hurts because it collides with our sense of fairness. We grow up believing that efforts should be rewarded, that good behavior should produce good outcomes. When a relationship ends despite our sincerity, it feels unjust. It feels as though the rules changed without warning. Here is the answer, gently but honestly. Relationships do not run on justice. They run on connection. Connection is not governed by moral accounting. It does not measure how much you tried or how much you sacrificed. It measures how emotionally met both people felt over time. This is why you can be right and still be lonely. You can act correctly and still experience distance. You can be a good person and still be incompatible with the emotional needs of the person you love. Love is not a reward for good behavior. It's not something you earn by avoiding mistakes. Love is a dynamic process of emotional exchange, fluid, responsive, and relational. When that exchange weakens, the relationship suffers, regardless of intent. Many people love others in the way they themselves want to be loved. This feels logical. It feels natural. But love does not work through projection. It works through understanding. Few people take time to learn how their partner actually experiences care, reassurance, and safety. This is where reflection becomes necessary. So ask yourself honestly and without any self-defense, do you listen to understand, or do you listen only to respond? Do you make space for emotions you cannot fix, or do you rush to solutions to escape discomfort? Do you validate feelings even when you disagree with the interpretation behind them? These questions are not accusations, they are invitations. Being good answers moral questions. Were you faithful? Were you honest? Were you responsible? Loving well answers emotional ones. Did your partner feel seen? Did they feel safe? Did they feel emotionally held? And these emotional questions, quiet, persistent, often unspoken, that keeps relationships alive or allow them slowly fade. So let's return to the central idea, because this is where many people misunderstand both love and themselves. Why is being good not enough? Why have we said that today? Because love is not evaluated by your resume. It's not assessed through a checklist of duties fulfilled or mistakes avoided. Love is not measured by how responsible, loyal, or well-intentioned you are. It is experienced quietly and deeply in moments of vulnerability. People remember how they felt with you. They remember how safe they felt when they spoke without rehearsing their words. They remember how supported they felt when they were struggling and did not have answers. They remember how seen they felt emotionally, whether their inner world was acknowledged or dismissed. What they do not remember, at least not in moments of emotional reckoning, is how correct you were. Corrections provides structure. It does not create intimacy. This does not mean goodness is irrelevant. On the contrary, goodness is foundational. Without it, relationships become unsafe. Honesty, loyalty, consistency form the ethical base upon which love can exist. But a foundation is not the house. It holds the structure quite alright. It does not make it warm. Love requires emotional fluency, the ability to recognize feelings, respond with sensitivity, and remain present even when emotions are uncomfortable or unclear. Emotional fluency allows you to translate care into a form your partner can receive. And fluency is not innate, it's learned. It is developed through curiosity, reflection, and humility to accept that good intentions do not automatically produce emotional connection. When you understand this, love stops being a performance of goodness and becomes a practice of understanding. That shift, subtle but profound, is where lasting intimacy begins. So let's end softly, but deliberately, not with urgency, not with guilt, but with intention. Growth in love does not begin with self-criticism. It begins with willingness. Affirm to yourself, I am willing to learn how my partner experiences love. Hold this affirmation gently. It is not an admission of failure, it's a declaration of openness. It signals that you accept love as a shared language, not as a personal monologue. It reminds you that intimacy deepens when learning replaces assumption. Let's reflect on this. Good intentions sustain self-respect. Emotional attunement sustains relationships. You need both of them. Self-respect without attunement leads to moral certainty but emotional distance. Attunement without self-respect leads to self-erasure. Healthy love lives in the balance, where care is offered with integrity and received with understanding. This week, ask one person you care about a question you may never have asked before. Perhaps because you assumed you already knew the answer, or because you feared what it might reveal. Ask them calmly and sincerely, what makes you feel most emotionally supported by me? Then listen. Do not interpret. Do not explain yourself. Do not defend intentions. Receive their response as information, not as accusations. What you hear is not a verdict on who you are, but insight into how your love is experienced. Because love does not deepen when we simply try harder. Effort alone often repeats the same misunderstanding. Love deepens when we understand better, when we translate intention into emotional accuracy. And the language of love once learned, does not only transform relationships, it transforms the way you show up, the way you listen, and the way you choose connection over certainty. That understanding, quietly practiced, changes everything. That's it for today. I hope you've enjoyed and you've learned from all I have said today. I hope you'll put them to practice, and in case you need further clarifications, help, or support, feel free to reach out to me via email. I will be glad to listen and talk to you. Until next time, remain blessed, remain focused, remain energized and committed to your love life. Don't forget, today we spoke about why being good is not enough. It requires so much more effort. Until then, my name is Abdul Ghaffar Arikiwuyo. Have a pleasant day. Thank you for listening to the Love Language Podcast with Abdul Ghaffar. For more inquiries, questions, or if you'd like to have a personal conversation, please send an email to coolgaffimedia@gmail.com. That's COOLGAFFI media@gmail.com. Love Language. Conversations about love that ask more of you.